Alberta Primetime with Michael Higgins.
Welcome to Alberta Primetime. Ahead tonight, our politics panel on the Premier's response to a court challenge by teachers. But first, efforts to prevent another public sector strike.
We need to get into some form of a landing zone to get a deal. Unfortunate, but here we are.
The finance minister, in the wake of healthcare aides and licensed practical nurses voting 98% in favor of strike action, and ahead of 4 days of bargaining between AHS and the Alberta Union of Provincial Employees. For perspective on where discussions lie, we're joined now by AUPE President Sandra Azikar. Ms. Azikar, welcome back. Good to see you.
Thank you for having us.
All right, so maybe as a starting point, what came of those 4 days of mediation? How much progress was made?
Unfortunately, not very much progress was made. We're still far apart from where we needed to be. It was our hope that that we would be closer to reaching some kind of an agreement, but as he says, here we are, waiting for them to hopefully come back with a better deal before November the 17th, which is the first day that we can serve strike notice. Our hope is that we are able to get a deal at the table, but our members are ready if they need to take strike action. Okay,
so what do you feel is keeping the two sides so far apart?
I think it's an unwillingness to actually recognize the essentialness of the members that we represent. It's an unwillingness to recognize that, that this sector has not only been understaffed for so long. We have a vacancy rate of 10 to 12% on a given day. We've been faced with stagnant wages and a huge increase in the scope of practice. And yet there is no movement in addressing those things. There's also no movement in addressing life-work balance. Some of our members have to work 7 days straight. Some of them work 3 weekends in a row. There is no balance. And there's all kinds of issues, safety issues that are happening within our healthcare system that we have been, focusing on for a long time. Yet we've seen little recognition and little improvement in some of these areas.
Now, according to the Office of the Finance Minister, additional bargaining dates are scheduled for this weekend. How do you approach that with that window to serve strike notice opening immediately after, on Monday, the 17th?
Like I said, we are hopeful and we're focused on getting a deal at the table. We're hoping that if these days are in fact confirmed, that we will be able to come out with something that's a little bit more, better for our members. But right now, we are definitely in a situation where we're just waiting for them to bring something to the table that is something that our members will be willing to take.
Okay, maybe point blank. If a deal isn't reached then by the 17th, a strike is a sure thing.
Point blank, our members are ready. Our union is ready to take job action if we're pushed in that direction. And our members have spoken very loudly and clearly that they are willing to stand up for what they believe is fair.
Okay, obviously you have much to weigh between now and that point. What does the AUPE take away from how the strike by teachers played out and was brought to an abrupt end? What lessons are to be taken away as you head into that last round of bargaining?
Sure, that was an unfortunate situation. Any time that workers are robbed of their most basic rights, then it becomes an issue, and we take notice because an attack on one is an attack on all. Our most basic right is our right to withhold labor when we're not, seeing any movement or recognition of the worth of the value that we do. And when the government did that, they not only failed teachers, but they also failed children and Albertans in our public education system. We are ready in the eventuality that they try this. Like I said, you can't. You get put into a situation where you can't trust a government that's so willing to violate the rights of over 51,000 workers in this province.
Now, if it is that the healthcare aides, licensed practical nurses end up going on strike, what impact would that have on the delivery of healthcare in Alberta?
It's like I said at the beginning, we have currently a 10 to 12% vacancy rate in this sector. Add that to the other sectors that make up our public healthcare system. Shortage of staff has been an issue for a very long time. We go on strike, that's going to be an even further, impact on the delivery of healthcare. We do have essential services agreements that actually ensure the life and limb of Albertans, the safety of Albertans. But at the end of the day, we will see an impact in terms of already a healthcare system that's under huge stress, where we're seeing long wait times for absolutely everything, and it's going to impact Albertans. And so we are hopeful that we will be able to reach a deal way before that situation comes to a head.
Ms. Azikar, talk of a general strike continues to linger in the background. Where does that element land on the AUPE radar?
I think, we can't speak for other unions, but I think, the response to what the government did to the teachers was one that was met with so much repudiation, because, like I said, it's not something that we want to ever see again. It's a violation of our human rights, and so that's always on the table. I believe it's not something that we control. But it is ultimately a decision that's made by those individuals that want to see that come to fruition.
All right, maybe one more quick question for you. Some viewers might recognize that as president, you represent a change in leadership at the AUPE, a role you've just recently been elected to, replacing longtime President Guy Smith. What drove you to run, especially at a time when public sector labor relations are as strained as they are?
I've always been quite involved in the labor movement in this province, and I think that I was able to bring, a new ideas, new vision into what it is that the fight that we have ahead of us will entail. And it is a difficult time, because transition or change is always difficult, but sometimes change is inevitable, and we make the best of it when it comes to moving forward with like I said, a new vision and new ideas.
All right. Well, we'll have to leave it there. Appreciate your time as always. Thank you kindly, Ms. Azikar.
Thank you so much. Yeah, you bet. Thank you so much.
Sandra Azikar is president of the Alberta Union of Provincial Employees.